From the heart of Kansas City, we bring you Buck and Bob take on Chiefs Kingdom and Mel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm Buck.
I'm Mel.
And I'm Bob, and we aren't fancy analysts, but we have just as many bad takes. All right, guys? Holy shit. Oh, my God. What?
Listen, I can't even be excited because I was so stressed for 3 hours that I'm like, now I'm just like on the come down of the stress.
I was okay for 3 quarters, even though we didn't do jack diddly in the third quarter. But oh my gosh, that fourth quarter. I mean, I was getting lightheaded, was getting weak in the knees, my stomach was upset. I don't even know.
Dude, I was on like a Zen calm. You know, you texted me several hours before I even got over here, and you were like, I'm so nervous. And I was like, I'm not. I'm just, I don't know. Maybe it's just I wasn't ready for the game. I don't know. And then about an hour before the game started, I got really nervous. And then as the game went on and it went further and further and it was closer and closer, in the third and fourth quarter especially, I was like, I really feel like I'm about to vomit. This is absolutely way too stressful for me.
So bad.
But, man, what an ending. And I expect nothing less from Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes.
Sure.
I really do. This was an amazing game.
It was an epic game, and you can't say that either team played poorly. And I think that that's good. You know, nobody's leaving this game as a Bills fan being like, wow, we really crapped the bed, right? Like, they didn't. They played wonderful. And
Both teams. The officiating seemed pretty good. There was definitely missed calls, but I mean there is every time.
Okay, as a Chiefs fan, I'm going to say this. That catch, that long catch downfield where it looked like the Bills may have intercepted it, but a dude grabbed it and he was able to pull it in, and it was ruled a catch. The Bills challenged it. In my heart of hearts, I feel like that probably was an interception, but it was called a catch.
Wait, the one with Worthy?
there's no
Was it
chance
Worthy?
it was an
Yeah,
interception.
no,
Yeah,
I feel like so hear me out. So the Bills defender had the ball first for a tick. Now, when possession actually happened, then it was in Worthy's hands, and
But I think what you
It doesn't
missed,
matter if a defender and a offender come down with it, both
then
in
it's
their
on the
hands. It's
offender.
always the offense that gets the ball. That's in the rules.
I think what you missed, Jason, because it was hard to see because Worthy had white gloves on, so it kind of blended in with the defender. But if like the defender had the ball like this, Worthy's hand was around.
yes, no, I
Yeah.
totally saw that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was-
The entire
No,
time.
his hands were on the ball. I'm not saying that it was all Bills defender and then Worthy grabbed it at the last second. No, he definitely had his hand in there. It was entangled. I mean, you say it was a 50-50 ball because they were both going for it, and a 50-50 goes. I just feel
if you
like
both
it was.
come down with it, like
and-
and your arms are
right.
wrapped up, it's always.
And
the
I know it
offender that
doesn't
gets
matter
it.
at that point if it's 80-20, but I feel like it was 51-49. The
See-
Bills defender had it by just enough. Rules of the game are that if they both come down with it, it goes to the receiver. 100% down with it. I'm just saying, like, I do see the other side.
I'll give it. See, if I'm gonna give a penalty call to the Bills, I'll give them the Josh Allen fourth down wuss push or tush push or wimpy push or whatever you want to call
where
it.
they didn't make it.
Pansy push. Yeah. Yeah. So like
He's just making it
that
up
one
now.
You
was
think they
real
did make
close.
it?
I think they
It was
might
close.
have.
I think
I that
agree.
was a more questionable call.
I actually
than
think
the
the
one
ball
he's talking about.
hit the first down marker, but it was off camera. It was from the angle they were showing. It was from behind Allen's back, and obviously he had the ball up here. It just felt to me like he was probably going like this, and if he had it even close to his left shoulder, then it was a first down. But they called it as he was down before, and unless it's irrefutable, it's just my feeling. I don't have evidence of that. It just felt like that probably was a first down.
Yeah,
I
and
think from the replay, I don't think it was a first down. I think his head got over the first down marker, which I think is where the one line judge was marking it. But the other line judge saw that his
The other line judge-
he did not extend the ball
Right.
at all.
He
so
saw
the
it.
ball was completely tucked in.
But they never showed a replay from that side of the field, so
Sure.
we weren't able to see what that sideline judge saw. So, I mean, we could be dead wrong.
But at the end of the
just felt
day,
like
it doesn't matter because the tush push, the pansy push, is literally the dumbest play in football. It makes football look kind of dumb whenever a big play swings one way or the other because of it. It is the dumbest thing in football. Please outlaw it. It's really dumb. But so
I get that
it
you say
feels
it's
great when you stop it. Like we saw in the Commanders game, the Commanders were able to stop the pansy push once.
We stopped it a couple times.
Yeah, but it's such a dumb play. It's a boring, stupid play
Here's the thing,
that
though.
should not be in the game.
That's a fine opinion. I don't think it will ever get taken out of the game because there's way too many stipulations that you would have to make. I think
if the
Stop.
quarterback's under center, he has to take one step backwards.
Okay.
Fixes it.
Listen, the Chiefs are about to go for a three-peat, and they have not run a quarterback sneak since Mahomes.
I know, because the Chiefs aren't lame.
No, because Mahomes dislocated his knee
Yeah. Hey,
the last time we ran
I'm
a
going with the
quarterback
Chiefs
sneak.
aren't lame.
We would have seen a lot more.
100%.
Okay, well, suspension of disbelief, and I'm going with the Chiefs are cool.
You're wrong.
Yeah,
But
that's what I'm going with.
I think you also have to consider the fact that you're seeing quarterback sneaks because they're getting so close to getting the down. You don't see a quarterback sneak on 3rd and 5. Like, they have to be within a yard for us to
Yard
see
and
a
a half,
quarterback
yeah.
sneak. A yard and a half.
Dude, we
And-
saw the Eagles do it on first down. First and goal on the 3-yard line, and they just planned to pansy push it all the way
Sure,
in.
but give them credit that they got to the 3-yard line. Like, that's not that much different than them running it up the gut 3 times. Like, I just don't see that it's a major problem. We've seen it
Right.
stopped. We've seen
Seen it
tonight.
stopped a
We've
little
seen
bit.
it stopped.
It's
yeah.
still
Admittedly-
a 92% play.
I had never seen it stop till today, but we saw it several times. If you watch both games, we saw it stopped at least 3 or 4 times today.
and it was actually
but-
dangerous.
and I don't-
like it is a also dangerous play.
I don't disagree with you that the play sucks to watch. It takes away something from the game, but it is a slippery slope. As you were saying, once you start making stipulations on specific plays, then what's the line? What do these teams have to do to just get by the line so that they can make that play happen? And I don't
I
wanna
don't
see
think
that
it's
either.
a slippery slope because, so for instance, I had a really brainy idea when we were playing flag football in high school. I didn't it was middle school. It was before I really knew anything about football, right? And
So about 3 months ago.
I was the quarterback, and I was like, okay, so what we're going to do here is we need 1 yard. You're going to snap it to me. I'm just going to hand it right back to you under your legs, and then you're just going to run, and you're just going to go for the first down. Well, we did it, and then the PE teacher was like, whistle blow, guys, you can't do that. That's illegal. And I was like, oh. All right, well, so if that's illegal, it's easy to make the stipulation that the quarterback has to take 1 step back. I just don't. I don't
You're
get
right.
the
problem
Your
is-
flag football middle school team
No other
rules
school had
are
to follow that
so
rule. In fact,
No, everybody did. You can't hand
you
it
playing
back to the center.
oh yeah, okay,
Yeah, because it
yeah.
was against the rules.
right. But
So if the center can't take the ball, then you can make a rule that the quarterback has to step 1 foot back.
No,
That's all
because
I'm
the
trying to
center is
say.
an ineligible receiver. They can't run. Like, the line.
So the quarterback should be an ineligible runner until taking
I
1
think-
step back, unless they're in shotgun.
No, I think the best thing you could do would be have them declare like they do with an onside kick, which is stupid as well because everybody already knows when they're going to do a quarterback sneak. Like, there's no hiding it. Like, it's obvious. It's there.
All right,
I just like.
I don't want to stay on this forever. But
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, and I don't like the play either. So it wouldn't hurt my feelings to see it go. I just feel like if they make a change like that, then they'll start making other changes of silly little things that some we care about, some we don't care about, some we'll get upset
We've
about.
seen 55 years of them changing the rules constantly. I mean, it used to be that you couldn't push somebody out of bounds when they're coming down with a catch. Then it became that you couldn't push them out of bounds. Then they changed it back. I mean, we see the rules change a little bit every year. So it is definitely something they could do, and we've seen that they don't change them too fast, too drastically.
Except for the kickoff rule.
Well, no, they didn't change them. Like after preseason, it stuck and it was bad. So they'll try to reiterate on it next year. But
you're gonna overcompensate.
I'm just saying. I want the tush push gone. Tell us in the comments. Do you like or dislike the pansy push, and do you think it's a brotherly shove or a pansy push?
Do you think that any of your comments about this are related to the fact that we have to go up against the Eagles next week?
No, I just hate it.
Yeah, no, this is definitely
I've
been
been
a topic.
talking about it for the last 10 years.
It did come from the Eagles for sure.
Well, I've been talking about it for 10 years before the Eagles even perfected their pansy push. But I've just always thought it was bad. But here, I don't want to talk about that.
Speaking of intentional runs, I think we did see it, if not once, twice tonight, an intentional play call with Mahomes as the runner. And I was pumped up to see it. Not just interested. I was pumped up.
That was interesting.
I mean, this is the playoffs. This is the end of the season if you don't perform. And they're like, all right, Patrick, go do your best or go do your worst.
I saw a post from Nick Wright that said, since Mahomes dislocated his knee, the Chiefs have called 3 total design quarterback runs. One of them was in the
playoffs, baby.
One of them was in the Super Bowl. I can't remember which one. And the other 2 were tonight. Like, we had to win this game, and we had to give it everything. This, I think, was the hardest game we're going to have to play this year.
This was like the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm not discounting the Eagles because I do think the Eagles will put a good fight. I think Saquon Barkley is unreal. But I think I think that's it, though. Yeah.
We'll talk about that, though, in our Wednesday episode.
Yeah, but I'm not there. So I think given that...
Well, you can be there.
No. I think given that Barkley is their only weapon and really their pass game isn't much to desire, I think our defense will show up.
I mean, Brown's pretty good still.
Brown did have a pretty damn good day today.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't think Jalen Hurts is even close to the quarterback Josh Allen is. I think he's definitely overplayed by a lot of people. So I think I think it's literally Saquon Barkley. We stop him, and it's just like the Saints and stopping Alvin Kamara. But stopping him, no one's been able to do it yet. Although the Chiefs did stop Derrick Henry. So if we could stop Derrick Henry, he had similar stats to Saquon Barkley this year. Maybe we could stop Saquon, but completely different run styles. So,
yeah, but it still comes down to you've got one real offensive threat on the field. You have to neutralize that guy as best as possible, and that gives you the best chance to win. Like you said about the Saints earlier this year, and that's exactly what happened. We neutralized Alvin Kamara as best as we could, and we ended up winning that game. And that was the one and only comfortable. I don't know if that's the word I really want to use, but that was the most comfortable win at that point of the season.
Sure.
For us.
Dude, I mean, but geez, both quarterbacks threw to so many different receivers. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, both quarterbacks played well. Both, Josh had 2 TDs in the air. Mahomes had 1 and then 2 rushing TDs. I mean, but just go to the start of the game. The start of the game, I feel like, dude, so you know how we got so nervous
Yes.
at the end of the game and during the game? The Chiefs just don't. They have ice in their veins. I mean, if you think about this, Allen looked nervous the
he did.
entire game, just like Lamar Jackson, just like all of these quarterbacks
Even when
that
they
we
had
see.
the lead.
I mean, we
He
are
didn't look
so
comfortable.
lucky to have such a stone cold team. I mean, they are.
Yeah, I don't.
Whew, I'm so
I
impressed.
Don't think, I am too. I don't want to take anything away from our Chiefs, but I do think it's the fact that the Chiefs have done it, and the Chiefs have been there, and the Chiefs have beat these people, and
Yeah,
they
it's a
just
state of
have
mind.
faith. And we went all year winning one-score games, so like we're used to that. The Bills aren't. The Bills blew out a lot of people, and I think
They get used to that calm and relaxation,
Including the
during
Chiefs.
the
That
game.
was not a one-score game.
Yeah. And the
That's a
Bills,
good point.
The Bills also, like, there's a lot of pressure on can you actually beat Mahomes and the Chiefs? You know what I mean? And the Chiefs, there's a lot of pressure for the three-peat, but that's pressure to make history that nobody else has ever done in the history of the NFL, right?
And I think that's more pressure, more self-inflicted pressure than it is anything else. I mean, the media isn't pushing that nearly as much as we know Mahomes and them are talking about it. But it's almost pressure in a different sense. It's not like pressure like, oh, if we don't win this third in a row, what is our legacy? It's just like, look, we did 2 in a row. We've done, 3 in the last 5 years. What else is there to do? There's this three-peat thing that nobody's done before. Let's go ahead and go for that, you know? And
100%.
let's do the absolute best that we can. But they're not, by any means, will they feel like failures if it doesn't happen.
And that's what I'm saying is they already have a legacy.
Yeah.
And the Bills, Josh Allen does, but he doesn't, right? He's never been to the big game. He's never, been to the Super Bowl, yet alone won a Super Bowl. And so there is a lot of pressure on him. And I think just like when Mahomes went against Brady, Brady got in his head, right? You saw Mahomes was less confident when he was going against Brady, and I think that's how everybody else is when they're going against Mahomes.
Yeah, I think that year, though, I've talked about it
2
on
years.
the pod. I think that year,
In the Super Bowl that
Well,
we
we
lost
lost
to Tampa Bay?
to
I think that
Brady in the
year.
AFC Championship one year, and then we lost to
18.
Brady.
Yeah, but that was
20.
that
the
was
Super Bowl.
that was not Mahomes. That was Ford screwing it up, and literally we would have won the game had Ford not been offsides. But then maybe Brady wouldn't have thrown the interception. I don't know, but either way though. I think the Super Bowl one was Mahomes' head got way too big. You saw, if you go back and look at all the interviews, he was hinting the entire time that he was the GOAT, yada, yada. After that game, he's never said it since. He's always said, well, Brady's the GOAT, Brady's the GOAT. And he got back to humble. But their heads, Tyreek Hill, all of them, their heads were swelling that year. And they got their asses handed to them. And I mean, it was because of the line, but I think it was a good lesson for the whole team and everybody involved that, never let your head swell. And now you just see all the Chiefs do, all the players, is just talk up the other team. Great team, great coached, well disciplined, make a lot of good plays. I mean, It's great. It's the best way to say F you without saying F you. Because if you say about about everybody, it don't mean crap. That's what I love about it.
So talking about the game, I wanted to bring up last week after the game, Bob, you kind of talked about wanting Hunt to take the Lions' share of the carries, and tonight he did. He had 17, and Pacheco only had 5, and he killed it.
Hell yeah.
He had a great night. He did get stuffed a little bit at the beginning of the third quarter. I think there was
a few times.
Yeah, there was a few plays in a row too.
And that one play that we thought maybe he might get injured too, but he came back after that too.
Yeah, but he's running hard, and I will say Pacheco had a couple Pacheco runs tonight where you could see the anger in his feet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely got a little more back to that, but yeah, it's one thing I could put a feather in my cap about. I said it when the day we signed him, I said this is going to be big, and I turned out to be really right as time went on.
I mean, Hunt had more carries than Cook on the Bills.
Yep,
that's a surprising stat, and that just kind of was. Honestly, it was because of the flip of the coin. I mean, the Chiefs scored first, and so the Bills naturally felt like they were behind, and it's a mindset, right? You get into that. Well, we got to throw more, and that was probably to their that was their detriment.
Yeah. And we've done it too. Like,
sure,
we've been
absolutely.
guilty of that as well.
The weirdest thing is, if you look at the stats, who would have thought this would have been a stat? But Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen both had 11 attempts, and Mahomes had 4 more yards and 2 more TDs than Allen did. Weird. Weird. Do the whole, what's her name, the Snow White girl. Weird.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I had one of my best friends, and he listens to the show a lot. His name is Jason. He texted me during the game, and he said, if I told you before the game that the quarterback was going to rush for two touchdowns in this game, and it was going to be Mahomes and not Allen, I mean, come on. Nobody would have believed that, right? And that's absolutely right. Yeah. I mean, Allen was contained tonight. I didn't see necessarily a dedicated spy ever, and I was calling for it. I know it happened, but it was well disguised, I think.
That's why it's so hard to do a spy, because like you're gonna want to do Bolton, but Bolton does so much.
Yes, he does.
In the middle of the field.
He does it everywhere.
I mean, but that's the hardest thing about having a spy. Period. A spy is, usually you're taking a Mike linebacker, and usually it's your fastest linebacker, and you're losing them in the middle of the field, causing havoc. And that's where it's just kind of like, spies are so hit and miss, man.
I just want to take a second here. Sooners 918 says in chat, Brady has 7, so he'll still be the GOAT. I'm sorry, you're wrong, man. If Mahomes does 3 in a row, he's the GOAT.
And 4 total.
At this age, Brady wasn't even close to 4. So if he does 3 in a row, GOAT. Any other opinion, pretty much just throw it out.
I think it's...
Yeah, it'd be the type of thing like if he retired then, right after the Super Bowl, I mean, we would think of him as the GOAT. I mean, Barry Sanders didn't have a ton of accolades, but I still think of him as one of the top 5 running backs of all time.
There's the difference between being the GOAT and longevity, right? Like, sure, he could play for 10 more years and get to that 7 Super Bowls and then earn the GOAT title. Like, I don't think that that's fair. I do think after the first Super Bowl and after maybe even the second Super Bowl, it was like, we're not there yet. Like, let's not have that conversation yet. But I think now, what?
I don't know. I would agree with you on, like, if we're talking like Travis Kelce versus Tony Gonzalez. Travis Kelce's had a lot more, meaningful football in his career. I'd say Travis Kelce is the GOAT over Gonzalez. Gonzalez just played for 5 more years.
Had Gonzalez played on this team with, in Kelce's place, would he have been better? Who knows?
Maybe. Who knows?
But, I mean, the way things played out, I agree. I mean, Kelce is better.
Yeah,
Kelce's
but the difference in Brady is Brady won Super Bowls.
Sure.
Right.
Like that's not just playing, continuing to play. Like Matt Stafford continues to play and will never die, but like it does, he made it to a Super Bowl once or twice. Stafford.
Oh, yeah.
Matt Stafford on the Rams.
Yeah.
You know what? I honestly don't even care if people don't consider Mahomes the GOAT, because I feel like he's not even 30 yet, and we'll get there to the 7 and we'll be fine, and I can wait a couple years for you to accept it. Like, that's fine.
Supers 918. Bro, you're just wrong. Sorry.
Yeah.
Too bad you can't talk and we can. Yeah, sucker.
Oh, King Jamie said Barry Sanders was the greatest of all time without ever being as far as Barkley. We talked about Barry Sanders before the game.
I literally just talked about Barry. Yeah. But like, I'd consider Barry top 5. I don't know if I'd say greatest of all time, but
only because
he's
because
definitely
of
2 or
longevity,
3 for me.
I think he's
I think
1 or 2
yeah.
for me.
I mean,
definitely.
Saquon Barkley is making his case.
It's just Barry did what he did for so long, man. And Saquon, I mean, he's been good, but what he's done this season, I don't think he's done consistently enough. And Barry did it for so long with nothing. It was almost like it was 7 on 11 when Barry did it. It was otherworldly.
It
I
was
mean,
the
look
whole
back
team against Barry. Like Barry's team is taking a cigarette
and
break.
he was
on the sideline while
He would
Barry's
run
running
back.
to one side of the field, breaking 5 tackles, running to the
Yep.
other side of the field, breaking 5 tackles,
and he would
then
run back
up.
20 yards just to get 10 total yards positive. You know, he'd run back 20 to
dude.
get 30.
The way his
but it
legs
was-
bobbed back and forth, like oh man, I just loved it. It's so good. It's so good. But yeah, so much. I mean, Worthy came
I
out
know,
today,
man.
did he not?
Came
oh my
to
God!
play.
Targeted
Came
7
to
times,
play.
6 receptions, 85 yards, 1 TD, and then 2 rushing attempts for 16 yards. Bro, dude is on fire. 100-yard game, unreal.
Yeah, he killed it.
Woo-hoo.
He's grown so much, which is really cool to see. I
Yes.
think is the biggest thing with
Yep.
Worthy, and just his decision making at this point. And I think, like him, that catch that we talked about earlier, where he was intertwined with the defender,
Mhm.
right? Even just I don't know, like the knowledge for him to know to go up and get that, because we talked about it during the game. I don't know if that was thrown to Worthy or if it was
Right.
thrown to Hopkins behind him or whoever was behind him. But if Worthy didn't go up there and get it, it was going to get intercepted 1,000%.
Yep.
And he made a huge play there. He had a couple other plays where he just like, I don't know, he's getting open more. He's utilizing not just his speed, but also making good jukes here and there that you don't feel like are meaningless.
Well, and you talked about it during the game. You got a little mad at him at one point when he ran out of bounds, when he could have cut inside,
Yes.
probably got another 7 yards.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
I probably
I'm-
wouldn't. But at
I'm
that
starting
point,
to be on the side of where I think I know where Worthy's going with this. He always runs out of bounds, and I think he's being smart and keeping healthy rather than other.
But this is
you know,
not
players.
the time to play healthy. This is the time of year
Yeah.
to play for every single last yard. This is the time of the year that
I
you're
can't
staying
argue
healthy
with that.
for.
Yeah, I can't
Right?
argue with that.
Now, I'm not.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not complaining about
but it'd
Worthy.
be habits.
I'm
It'd be
literally
habits
like
and muscle memory.
99% happy and satisfied, actually overjoyed at Worthy, and then 1%. That's my that's my nitpick of the game. The way Worthy is playing today, as opposed to what he was doing 6 months ago, we're talking about 2 different players. I think when Hopkins joined this team, Worthy
Oh, he's talked about it.
and his mama and D-Hop, they all went out one night for drinks. And Mama and D-Hop sat there and talked to him and explained to him not just what this means as a football player, but what this means to you in your life and in your career, and how much your attitude and your approach really means on this, right? And he was drinking, taking it in, listening to his mama. And D-Hop, you can't but respect what D-Hop has
Dude,
brought
D-Hop,
to this game, what he's brought to
man,
this team. Just,
he
man,
didn't
it brings
do-
tears to my eyes.
Yeah, he didn't do you didn't see him. You know, he's targeted twice. He had 1 reception for 11 yards.
He
but,
was the guy they were covering.
Yep.
He was their focus.
But
It was-
what he's done for the team is, and I mean, we talked about it when he came in. We talked about he was going to come in and be, if he was willing, he was going to be an amazing mentor for the young people. So I mean, we pretty much knew that was going to happen, but I think it's happened even more than
yeah.
we thought. It's happened in spades.
Well, I think Worthy has a lot to do with that. So I don't want to discount Worthy, because I think Worthy is eating it up, right? There'd be a lot of guys who are real fast, like Worthy is, who'd be
Run
like,
it back. King Jamie likes it.
I don't know if there's enough, I don't know if you have a lot to teach me, right? Like, you don't have the same skills as me. Like, Worthy wants that, and he's learning from him, and he's excited about it. And I think that that is only going to make Worthy a much better player in the future. And I think that his impact in Kansas City is much more than his numbers show for D-Hop.
Well, it all comes down to attitude. And, this is something my father tried to instill in me, and I try and instill in my kids, is that attitude is everything. When
and
you're,
the whole Chiefs team
when
has it.
you're a young receiver or a young, what do they call it, skill position athlete that's taken high up, and you've got that kind of skill. He was the fastest to ever run the 40 in the combine, right? Or one of the fastest. When you've got that kind of talent, it's very easy to soak that up and just be like, I'm going to make somebody amazing.
Yeah.
And just forget about the fact that you still have a ton to learn. And I don't think he ever let that moment get too big for him. I think he was willing to learn from day one.
Agreed.
And he was hoping to have the opportunity to learn behind, Hollywood Brown being the number one and Rice on the other side, and he could just kind of blend in and learn on the go, and that's not what happened. It could have been bad. I mean, we saw what happened to Sky Moore. I think it was the same kind of situation. Sky Moore just let the moment get too big for him, and Worthy didn't,
And I think what we need to see now from Worthy is, after a great year, after the year of going through the hardships and building up.
Please don't rent a Lamborghini.
Yeah, after that year, can he keep it together? Can he keep that humble attitude? Can he continue to learn from everybody around him? Because no matter what, and I preach this to people that I work with, is no matter who you're next to, you can learn something. And I don't care if they have less education than you. I don't care if they're a less performer than you. You can learn something. And
I preach it all the time, too.
You're not allowed to talk when you're not on the mic. Okay?
Thank you.
But
no, you're right.
Yeah, and I think that's what we need to see from Worthy is
the ability to continue to learn, especially after a successful end of the season, as it looks like. At this point, if the Chiefs were to come out and to just kind of lay an egg in the Super Bowl, the Eagles come out and handedly win it, I still see this as a successful season. I see
100%.
this, for Worthy specifically, it was a hell of a growth year for him.
Yep.
But he can't let that be like, all right, I did it. I achieved what I wanted to achieve. No, you're a young man with a lot of skills and a lot of rough edges. And can you imagine the possibilities if he's able to smooth out those rough edges and really become I mean,
next year it'll be
it's the
harder.
same
I
thing I
don't
said
want to
about
say Tyreek
Mahomes.
Hill, but I have seen flashes. We know the speed is there. We've started to see some of the toughness and the catches, the one-on-one opportunities. This kid could be special. He absolutely could.
Oh, yeah.
But
definitely.
next year will be harder because next year people will cover
Film.
him differently. They'll have
Film.
tape on him,
Yep.
and they'll be able to, work around him a little bit more. I do think what's interesting about this game is that we did see, so the Texans, it was all Kelsey, right? They covered Kelsey this game.
Right.
And I think that's why we saw Worthy and Juju. Hi, welcome back to the team. Forgot you were there.
Damn, yeah.
I didn't forget. I mean, he's done little things here and there. He's been dependable.
He has.
But man, that
He's
play
a
tonight,
lot like Watson. I tell people this a lot of times. You don't see him, but he is on the field and he blocks. He blocks a lot. They do the dirty job of the wide receiving core. Juju just does a lot more with the ball when he gets it thrown to him.
But tonight he had 2 catches for 60 yards.
What was his long?
31 yards.
31. Really?
So he had a 31 yard and a 29
I
yard.
was going to say, I felt like that one was 45, 50. That was a huge play.
He's a bigger boy,
Yes,
so
he is.
a lot of people go to tackle him and they're like, "Oh crap!" That's all that TikTok dance that he does.
Don't forget who found him. Snoop Dogg.
Found him.
He was on that Snoop TV show where he was his kid's high school football coach.
Didn't know
and
that.
Snoop was, Juju was on that team.
interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I never watched it. It's just something I heard this season. Kind of interesting.
There you go.
Yep.
Thanks, Snoop.
Thank you, Snoop. That's just one more reason to love Snoop Dogg.
Right?
Who doesn't love Snoop?
What about that Patrick Mahomes fumble? I still think, I think that was Patrick was thinking Pacheco was taking it, and Pacheco didn't take it. But Pacheco didn't even know that. He didn't even know there was a fumble. He turned around 5 steps later. So
Yeah, Pacheco knew he didn't have the ball and didn't flinch. So there was some miscommunication there. I don't know.
I think it was a play action.
how do they
Is what it
communicate that? I'm curious.
I don't think it was an option.
Anybody?
Yeah, I
who's
don't think it was
been-
an option. If it's an option, then Pacheco would have at least checked something. I think it was a play action, and Mahomes got it in a little bit too far, and Pacheco's arm, he's supposed to let it go, and maybe his
Maybe
arm
it
wasn't
slipped
quite
off
so
his
far.
fingers.
Yeah, you know what
Well,
I mean? Like,
Yeah.
What I'm
just one of
asking
those,
though,
it's nobody's fault. It's just maybe the play action was so damn good that it accidentally, knocked out of his hands.
what I'm asking though is anybody that might know that's been on an NFL team or
Yeah, me.
like so in a run pass option like an RPO, does like the quarterback have like his own little thing? Like does he say like
His own option?
like when he wants the running back, because it's an option, he has to think about it on the fly.
Yes.
When he wants the running back to take it, when the running back gets there, is like the code to take it like potato,
No,
and the
it's
code not to take it like sausage.
No. It's that would be too slow. By the time they had the time to say the word, it would already be too late. What it is that first option is a real quick option, and it's usually the reaction of the linebacker. If the linebacker that they are focusing on makes a turn to one side, then immediately they know that, yep, this is a handoff, or no, this is not a handoff, and they both have to know that almost instantly. By the time they would even have the chance to say the word, it would be too late. And then at that point, the next option, he has a second or two, and depending on how many options he has during the play. But, yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
I'm
think
curious.
it's
Pretty
both
sure
of
it's a
so
look thing.
both of them reading the defense, not just
It's not the defense total because, again, the quarterback does that every play, but
Sure.
the running back doesn't, right? So it's one linebacker or maybe two linebackers.
Right.
If these guys do this, then I'm getting the ball, and if they don't, I'm not getting the ball.
yeah.
Dude. Okay, so everybody bitches about Mahomes getting all the penalties and stuff. How funny was it when Josh Allen pointed to a hold down the field and they just threw the flag? I was like, oh, okay, so Josh is a ref now. I
Okay,
guess.
so I noticed that because you pointed it out. But had you not pointed that out, it looked to me during the play live that Allen was pointing to one of his receivers, hey, keep going that way, or, like almost like he was directing traffic. And then after the play happened, you pointed that out, and I was like, okay, that's what he did. But, I mean,
It's just
when
funny
they
to me.
replayed it and they showed the camera view of that receiver and that, I don't remember who committed the actual penalty, but when they showed that, it seemed to me like the flag came out pretty quick as soon as that penalty happened. I could be wrong. I did have a few drinks during the game. My memory may be a little hazy as to which play happened when, but I feel like that happened pretty quick, and it was just Josh Allen pointing it out because that's what the guys do.
Yeah. Keeping on receivers, Hollywood Brown really showed up today a little bit more than we had seen him, I feel like, and I could be wrong.
And he was under
but-
pressure. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
but
he did a really good job.
I mean, I
when
think
he was
that
called.
first drive, because we were talking about it, and the fact that we took our first drive down for a TD, in my mind, I felt like that never happens, and it does happen sometimes, by the way, but it happened against Houston and the Steelers the last couple weeks of the season, but before that, it hadn't happened in a while, and I think Hollywood Brown was a big part of that drive.
Yeah, dude. I mean, even Kelsey had he didn't have a crazy game like he did before, but I mean,
That's
when
okay,
his
I
number
don't-
was called, he was there.
he
did drop it.
got a new song to have
did.
everybody going with.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Why am I blanking? Well,
didn't
he
do-
usually does. You got to fight for your right to party, right?
Oh, okay. You
But
talking
this-
about after the game?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
this
Oh,
time
I
he
wasn't-
did the.
I didn't see
what
any
did
of
he
it.
do? It was. Oh my gosh.
I can't remember now.
Please tell me it wasn't a Taylor Swift song.
It
no,
wasn't.
Okay.
No, but
Was
that
it
would have been
country?
funny.
No.
No.
Okay,
what?
good.
Chat. Anybody help us out?
Yeah, we'll come back to it.
Buffooners.
Yeah. Dude,
He
what
did have
it was-
one drop, which I know he'll beat himself up about, but
Oh yeah, keeping on receivers. Remigio, holy crap!
This
Two
man,
really good returns.
special
this game.
teams. Special teams. This man is special. He really is, and he hurt his knee on that one play, and it was almost like Remigio and his knee. We gotta worry about this guy. But then he came out and had another good return. He's a black horse. He is a special weapon. Remember before the season started when they were trying to decide on the 53-man roster, Dave Tobe, the special teams coordinator, said he was beating the table for Remigio to be on this team, and he didn't make it. And when he finally got his chance, yes, he's still just a return guy, but look at what he's done in that position, especially in the playoffs.
I honestly believe that they felt that they showed too much of him already, and the reason they didn't pull McCole Hardman back off IR when they could have, and he is healthy, but they left him, and I think it's because they didn't want to take a chance at putting Remigio on waivers, because I think they see him as the future in the return game for next year. They want to make sure that he's protected.
it was do a little dance.
Make a little love. Get down tonight.
Yes.
Get down tonight. Do a little dance.
Okay,
Make a little
Not
love.
karaoke.
Get down tonight. All right.
I think the real story on offense, just as a whole, though, tonight, we saw a lot of really good catches. Worthy had a really good night. Remigio in the return game. Kelsey had a couple of catches. But I really think that just shows the greatness of Mahomes. He has the ability to find the guy that isn't being covered, and they can change it, not just have a game plan, but have a game plan within the game plan where, every different down or every different series, they're focusing on different receivers, and Mahomes is just good enough to nitpick and find the open receiver. Fine, cover Kelsey. I'll throw it to Brown. Fine, cover Brown.
He has
I'll throw it to
antifreeze
Gray.
running through his brain.
You know what I mean?
Running through his
It's
veins.
just-
I mean,
sure.
It's just amazing. And for those people that can't appreciate that Mahomes is fine, if you want to say he's the second best of all time, if he's not Brady yet, fine, he's not there yet. But if you can't recognize that he's within the top 3 all time, then you're just a hater, and your opinion is bupkis.
yeah,
Worthless.
your opinion is just
Wrong.
I mean, there's no wrong opinions, but there's
That one's
definitely
wrong.
There is here.
bad
There is here.
opinions.
That one's
there
wrong.
is here.
Yeah, there's definitely bad ones, but
I think I think Mahomes is number 1 over Brady, but that's my opinion. But floor is second, second best of all time. He's definitely number 2 if he's not number 1.
Can we talk about my boy P. Ryan?
P. Ryan.
I called it. It was one of my keys to the game in the pregame episode. I think that P. Ryan will come up big on 3rd down in the passing game, and he sealed the game. He
Came
won
up
the
big,
game.
yeah.
He
Yep.
won the game.
The entire
for this-
game.
And we hadn't seen him all night, it felt like. But you know what? When you need P. Ryan, he is there.
That's right.
And I
That's
love
right.
him.
And he's dependable,
Yeah.
and he's tough,
Love
and he
him.
runs with purpose, and he doesn't drop the ball.
And he's ready for heads up plays. He catches Kelsey's pitches, Patrick's little flop ups while he's on the ground.
And I
mean,
think he's much happier here playing that role and winning a Super Bowl than being in Denver and maybe making the playoffs and having a little bit better, a little bit more
He wasn't a starting
role.
runner back in Denver either. He was a change of pace back, I think, in Denver, their third down back.
Yeah.
He's
like
not
that.
even a change
He's
of
been a
pace back
third
for
down
us.
back
He
for
is
them.
literally a passing option.
He would have been, I think, if we hadn't have gotten Hunt.
Oh, right. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably what we got him for. But I think the role he plays now is so much more critical.
But the fact
and
that
he doesn't need those he doesn't need all of those reps to make it happen in a critical moment.
But just
you
the
know?
fact that he's willing to step back
Yeah.
and take that role
Yeah.
for the, for the Super Bowl ring, it's another testament. And that's the kind of guy that the Chiefs look for and they find and they cultivate. I mean, I'm sure not all those guys, a lot of these guys, if they were on a different team, maybe their attitude wouldn't be the same.
Sure.
But you've got that rock in Patrick Mahomes
Yep.
that sets the tone for the whole team, and it's just like back in the day with T.O. when he would be like a cancer on a team, and that would just kind of emanate from him, and it would infect other guys. It's the exact opposite with the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, everybody just it's like a big family and it's just cool, and the people that hate, I mean, you're placing your hate in the wrong place.
Well, I think too, you look at it and it's like if you go into a team where the quarterback's the best player and the quarterback doesn't work very hard, you're going to try to do your best, but you're not going to go above and beyond, right? Unless you're really trying to prove something to somebody. But when you go in and you're quarterback and your veteran tight end, and your, Chris Jones, defensive back, are the hardest working players on the team, you want to go in and you want to beat them to the, gym. You want to practice harder. You want to do things. And I think that they lead by example, and it shows. And we've had a lot of success, which I know doesn't hurt.
Yep. And Sooners 918 in chat. Yes, we know Brady #1 for 2 more weeks, and then Patrick Mahomes takes that title, and we can all just stop talking about
I
it.
still think Mahomes has it, but yes, you're right. One more in 2 weeks, then there's no doubt you can put your argument to rest because it no longer holds any water.
One more thing about the offense, just because I want Bobby to say it, is that Watson
sucks.
had a clutch conversion.
Again, you know how many times I've said the word
Just
clutch with Watson this season? And every time he's like, meh.
2 games. Two games. He was clutch.
No.
2 games.
Not just clutch
Show me
catches.
one more game besides 2 games. No, he's a great blocker. I'll give you that. He's a great little piece to put on the board to get your stars the ball. But he's not a good wide receiver. He's a good utility wide receiver.
He's good at what he does.
I think we're frozen. I don't know if they can still hear us.
Oh, we're frozen on there too.
Uh-oh. Is it?
Let us know in frozen chat if you can
Yeah,
hear.
can you hear us? Can you hear us, or is it completely frozen? Oh, we just went from people watching to no one watching.
Wah, 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 wah.
Huh. Well, it's weird that the camera's completely. Well, the mic's still going though.
The mic is still going.
Can you still hear us in chat? Anybody? Technical difficulties? Huh.
King Jamie really likes you. No matter what
Oh,
we say.
it's still showing.
Well, he
on
likes you
here
guys.
it
Yeah,
says-
we're still talking. It's
Yeah,
just
they
the
can still hear
cameras. The camera's locked up here. I'll try to mess with it while you guys keep going.
Where were we? What were we talking about?
We were talking about Watson. Do you know how
Oh,
you know
yeah.
how
Watson, yeah, Watson.
Yeah.
Bobby conveniently walked away from the Watson
Yeah, from the Watson
conversation?
discussion,
Yeah.
yeah.
I see how it is.
Watson is not a number 1 or 2 receiver. I've never said that. I don't think
No.
anybody ever has said that.
No.
But he's
just not
he shows
awful.
up right, yeah, and the big plays when it's almost like Noah Gray. He's not utilized a whole lot, but when he's called upon in a big moment, he comes up and he performs.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else do I got? I just took some notes on the game itself, but
I mean, I think if we get this fixed, oh, is it working now?
yeah, looks like it.
I want to talk defense because our defense killed it.
Yeah,
I
I see it on here now.
think we're all good.
Yeah. Our defense, I feel so split on this because I really feel like the defense made me feel like I was on my edge of my seat tonight. But then when I go
Bills
back,
offense.
when I go back and I think about it, right, exactly. I really feel like the defense played better than I expected them to.
Yeah.
So it's really hard for me, you know. It's like I'm conflicted, but I mean, we won the game, and we know that Buffalo is a scary, scary team. We know that Josh Allen is. He would probably have 2 to 3 Super Bowls under his belt right now if Mahomes wasn't a thing in the NFL. So it's hard for me to criticize anything I saw from the defense tonight. Even a few nitpicky plays. They held Allen to. I don't even, I'm not looking at the stats, but I know he had under 40 yards rushing. I would have bet 75 yards rushing would have been his minimum tonight.
Yeah.
So
I think the defense brought it when they really needed to, and I think that 4th down play at the very end was pure Spags brilliance, right? Like, and it could have gone very wrong, and we all know that.
Yep.
But that's Spags' greatness, where he knows when to take that chance, and he hadn't brought that play the entire game.
Well, it feels like, when he takes those chances, you can, you're overloading one side or the other or the middle, and you have to, even if you're picking the right play, you've got to pick the right spot too. And he just seems to have a sixth sense about not only when to do it, but where to do it. And it's, when it, in the big games when it really needs to happen, he just has that knack.
He's got that play just in his back pocket where he's like, all right, we really need to stop. I'm going to have to pull this one out, Like he's got like a handful of plays back there.
Yeah.
And we can't go through all of them. So like you really have to need it if he's going to pull it out. But that play to stop him on 4th down.
Had it not been Josh Allen tonight with the defense the way that they played and some of those play calls that Spags had, I think it would have been an absolute blowout. I mean, Josh Allen was the difference in this game, to it being a close Chiefs win, to it being a blowout Chiefs win. And Josh Allen, we got to give him credit. He is absolutely freaking amazing.
Oh, he is amazing. But I don't know. Did you guys talk about it while I was gone? I mean,
we already covered it, so you don't need to.
One of the biggest things the biggest thing the defense did was stopping the 2-point conversions. And then, what, did they stop 2 4th downs or 1 4th down?
It was a third and
right?
it was a 3rd and a 4th down, really close, almost kind of like what happened with Pacheco earlier this year.
I thought it was 2 4th downs.
I'm just thinking about the 3rd and 4th and
we stopped 2 of their 6. They
where
got
Mahomes
4 of
Allen
their
got
6
stuffed at the line. Yeah.
We went for 4th once and got it. They went for 4th 6 times and got it 4 times.
Yeah. Yeah, and I
think
think
pansy push.
It's funny because I feel like, the Bills scored 29 points, and the majority of their games this season they scored 30 or more. Not every game. There was a couple where they didn't. They were under that, but the majority of the games they scored 30 or more.
Wait, the Chiefs?
No.
Oh, you mean the Bills?
The Bills.
Yeah, their offense was electric.
And I think, our defense was never going to keep them to under 20 points. Like, I don't know what people expected. Like,
I don't think any defense in the league is going to keep them under 20 points.
Right. And I think our defense did what they needed to do. And they came in clutch when they needed to. They stopped on crucial downs and made a big play on the 4th down.
And they contained Josh Allen.
Yeah.
That's the big deciding.
Didn't we actually sack him once?
No, I don't
think
think
so.
so.
One sack?
I don't think so, but we got pressures and we got hits.
Yeah.
Which was
no one could ever sack him.
We did sack him. because we had that one where he fumbled the ball and then he picked it up immediately, Mike Dana.
We sacked him twice.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Dana sacked him once, and Tershawn Wharton sacked him once.
Let's give some credits to Mike Dana, man.
I was
that
guy
bring that
was,
up.
that was
I know
in
you
my
were.
notes.
You talked about him early in the game, and he showed up. His name was called a few times, and man,
he's felt like a bust for a couple years.
I wouldn't say a bust, because to me a bust is somebody that we hear about a lot. You hear about especially offensive linemen. You don't ever hear their name unless they're screwing up, right? Mike Dana has been one of those guys. He hasn't done anything special, but he hasn't screwed anything up. He hasn't been the guy that they're like, oh, well, it was a great stop, but Mike Dana had to pull the guy's helmet off. Like that hasn't happened.
Yeah.
But tonight you heard his name a couple of times, and it was for good.
For what we thought he was going to be, he's definitely underperformed, but he might be starting to come on and might be starting to become a player.
What a time, too. This defense really needs some help.
Yeah.
That was sarcasm.
Yeah, that's great, man. Dude, man, at the start of the game, 2 almost picks. Boy, can you imagine what the momentum might have been if we had just gotten those picks right off the bat?
So I actually, when I wrote my note, I thought that first one was 3rd and 6, right? So I said Cook dropped a big pick on 3rd and 6, and I was about to cross out 3rd and then write 2nd as soon as the next play happened, and I was like, oh, well, now he dropped a big one on 3rd and 6, so I could just keep it. Yeah, that was crazy because it was Cook on both. But, man, he couldn't come up with 2 in a row. I understand the first one, but then I would, I'd be in my – there's no way I would drop the second one, especially on the very next play.
Yeah.
He's still
even
with the win, he's still kicking himself for that right now.
But you're sitting there thinking after the first drop, you're like, all right, it's not coming right back to me. Right? Like nobody expects the next play to also be a potential pick. Like,
am I hallucinating right now?
Yeah.
It really looks to me like the ball is right here again.
I was like, Josh is something's wrong with Josh. Come on, get it.
Yeah. He looked flustered, especially early, though. He really did.
His eyes were big. It's just funny to see how these elite quarterbacks play in the posts in the postseason. Lamar.
I mean,
I told everybody. Everybody's like, Lamar looks amazing. I was like, yeah. Well, as soon as he gets into the game, I just told everybody as soon as he gets into the playoffs, he's going to choke. And everybody was on my ass and telling me, no, you're freaking crazy. And I was like, all right, well, let's just watch. And what happens? He chokes.
It's because the playoffs are win or go home.
Mm-hmm.
The season is not. You always have time, usually, to make up for a loss in the season, right? So a loss hurts in the season, but it's not your season's done.
Mm-hmm.
And the playoffs is. So there's more pressure just inherently because of that. Because if you don't win, you go home and your season's over. So I think there's already that. I also think you have to give a little bit of credit to Arrowhead Stadium because
I disagree. A lot of credit. Yeah.
Because Arrowhead is a loud environment to play in,
and that is a massive advantage.
And I think the frustration coming from especially the Bills, who got to play at home until they played at Arrowhead, right? So the first 2 games of the playoffs they played at home. And so they're used to their crowd noise. They were doing really well. They come to Arrowhead, and the frustration I think that builds when quarterbacks can't hear the calls and can't communicate as effectively and have to take extra time to do X, Y, and Z, I think that just builds frustration. And I think they get frustrated and they get flustered a little bit more, and they don't have as much time as they're used to having. And I think even though the Bills knew what they were walking into, it's still different.
Honestly, I think that was the biggest shock for me is I saw the frustration from the Bills before the half. It was towards the end of the half we saw a frustration penalty or 2 on the Bills, and I couldn't believe that they would allow themselves to get there yet. I mean, we've seen it a lot with a lot of teams, and not just against the Chiefs. I mean, we've seen it all over the NFL. Guys get frustrated towards the end of the game, especially in big games. But the Bills are a smart team coached by a very smart guy, and they've got they've got a leader that I think that we all feel very familiar with, because I think that Josh Allen is the way he approaches the game of football, the way that he approaches life.
Dude, he could have been born and bred like right in Kansas City.
Honestly, it had the tables turned, and we got Josh Allen, and they got Patrick Mahomes. I think we'd see something very similar with the rivalry between the two. Who knows? Who would have flourished more.
I said just our episode a couple of days ago. I believe everything would still be the same if we had drafted Josh instead of Mahomes. I said Mahomes gets all of this credit, but honestly, it's the whole team, and it's the whole
100%.
culture. It's the owner. It's the GM. It's the head coach. It's the offensive, defensive, and special teams coordinators. These are what make our team great and what make Chiefs Nation the kingdom.
Correct, but it is much easier to have a positive attitude and have really hard workers when you're winning, and we've been winning.
Yeah,
1,000%.
And I think that the pressure gets on the Bills when they get into the playoffs because they can't win against the Chiefs. They never have since Mahomes has been there. And I think that that's the difference, right? Like, it's like people get frustrated and like annoyed with little things that wouldn't annoy them usually, right? But it's this extra pressure, it's this extra weight that they can't get past, and once they do, maybe it'll be different. But we take for granted the fact that, like, oh, we have this amazing culture, we have the best people, everybody's wonderful, but yeah, we keep winning Super Bowls, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah, I do feel bad for Josh and bad for Bills Mafia. I mean, I really do. Like, it was kind of a bittersweet win because I want the Chiefs to win so much, but I feel greedy at this point, like almost
I don't.
to the
I'm
point. I feel greedy. I think about my friend Jim sitting at home in Buffalo. All he's ever wanted is his Bills to win a Super Bowl his entire life.
know,
And
but
now
they
I'm
had
not going to be able to
multiple
talk to him for like
opportunities.
a
They had
couple weeks.
multiple opportunities and they
'cause-
didn't capitalize on them. You know what I'm
Look,
saying?
I think the point here is not to feel greedy, but to not take for granted what we have. I don't want to be 30 years down the road. I don't want to be like, man, I should have appreciated it more while it was happening. I want to enjoy
it.
every single victory. I'm enjoying the losses for what we've learned. I love
almost
to see
feel like
Andy
I
Reid
died
when he
7
comes
years
back
ago.
after a loss.
I almost feel like I died 7 years ago, and this is just my heaven.
This
that
is
I'm
a
living
dream.
in.
I'm
Yeah.
in a dream right now.
Like, that's
yeah.
what I feel
I'm gonna
like.
wake up. It's 2019. We're gonna be 2-11 and not make the playoffs. Yeah, like that's what's gonna
And
happen. And
Patrick Mahomes' first start is just like Burrow's first year starting.
I'm gonna find
No,
out.
we're
Gets
gonna
hurt
be
in the third game and is out for the entire season.
I'm gonna find out that Patrick Mahomes isn't really even a dude. He's just the guy that works at 7-Eleven that I went to last night before I went to bed and I was drunk, and that was the last name I saw. And now he's some famous guy in my dreams.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's surreal. I think it's not that this team hasn't gone through adversity, because they have, and I think them keeping up their culture and their positivity during that time has been really impressive, but I do think they haven't gone through enough adversity, right? We haven't lost yet, and I think
I mean, last year was a lot of
Remember
adversity.
that first year we thought we were set for destiny, and then we lost in the AFC Championship.
right, but the first year, I feel like you cut yourself some grace.
That
right?
first year, I did not think we were set for destiny. I was like,
When
I
we
can't
made-
believe we're in the AFC Championship.
Oh no! When we made the AFC Championship, I think the major everybody thought we were going to go to the. I say
didn't.
everybody I talked to in the city. Now we weren't
was
hanging out a
definitely
whole lot then.
scared.
We were definitely in two different
Yeah.
in circles, and so
Well,
we
it
had
was
different
when I had
feelings.
first moved back, or had
Right.
first moved to Colorado.
But
I
I'm
was
just
in
saying, like,
Colorado
that
for a
was
few
the
years.
feeling I got, and I wasn't doing any podcasts at the time, so I wasn't taking polls. But
So it's a good point, though, because that was the adversity we went through, right?
Mhm.
And what happened?
Tyreek
Tyreek Hill.
Hill, and it humbled
And-
Patrick Mahomes.
And he left. And
Well,
No,
years
Tyreek Hill left years
yeah,
later.
years later. We're talking about in 18 when we lost. When Mahomes in his first year as a starter
Ford.
lost
On
in
the
the
Yeah.
AFC. AFC
okay.
Ford
Championship.
went offsides. Brady got picked off.
Got it.
Then that was a foul. Brady then went down the
'Kay.
field. Yeah.
Yep.
It was rough.
It was rough, and it was a learning experience, and it humbled Mahomes.
And then it humbled him again when it, I think the biggest humbling was, in the actual Super Bowl with with Tampa Bay. I think that was super humbling.
That
'cause
was an ugly
he
game.
was him. I think Tyreek Hill had gotten in his head too. So he was talking as much shit as Tyreek Hill was, and I don't know, man.
We're so lucky
We're
though
in
to have
we're in
that
a good
kind of-
time, man. We're in a good time.
That kind of quarterback that can go through that adversity and use it to learn, and not just learn as a lesson, but take it into account and make the changes he needed to make. I mean, I don't think there's anybody in Kansas City that thinks that Mahomes is going to, at the end of his career, have 3 Super Bowl wins. You know, that's what he's got now. How many is he going to end up with?
Right.
So just enjoy the ride, man.
Yeah.
Enjoy the losses too, because
For
it's
sure.
to me it's fun when they lose and you see them hit it in practice that next week, and Andy Reid takes that to heart. He hates it, and then nobody hates it more than Mahomes does. You know, Mahomes is going to work 3 times as hard, and when they come back, I don't know what their record is, but after they've lost a game, you know, their record is one of the best in history.
For sure.
And that's because their love of the game and their love or their pursuit of perfection.
Well, they learn from it, and
Yeah.
they're not afraid to learn from it, right? Not afraid to go back and watch the tape and get better.
Yes.
And I think that's huge.
It's not about
think-
feelings, it's about learning.
Yeah, and I think one thing we did really well tonight was third down conversions, which we have struggled with at times in the past, right?
Really?
And I say really well, we did
Well,
okay.
wait,
later
we-
in the season we did, Bob. I know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
W-
Well, I mean,
For the
we're
first
still-
2/3 of the season, we were
We're still one of the best though throughout the entire season.
because of that
Third
first
down?
2/3. But
Yeah.
the last third of the season, we had some.
Yeah.
We had some. It wasn't like we were the worst in the NFL. But Bob's about to fact check this.
Yeah, I mean, it's just anecdotal on my
Yeah, it's just
point. Like,
Eye
I don't have
test.
stats to back it up. I just felt like our third down conversion percentage was poor. But it's on the other side of it for Josh Allen. Their third down conversion was like 36%.
Yeah, Kansas City was number 3 in third down conversions this
well
year.
for total.
Eek!
Yeah, but we're
I
talking
don't
about
care. Yeah, well,
different
that
parts
is
of the
total.
season.
All right.
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah, but still, in
Both
different
can be
parts
true.
of the season.
What was their
Both can be true.
percentage?
So that means we were like number 1 by
For
a
the first-
ton
yeah.
for the first half.
Well, and I think it was the Chiefs were number 1 by a lot the first 2/3 of the season, and I could be wrong. I'm not stating that as
Yeah.
a fact. I'm just saying both
Yeah.
can be true.
Their last 3, so their whole 2024 was 47.92%. Their last 3 was 26.67. So it was definitely lower. But home 46%, away 49%, and like
Okay,
yeah.
so recency bias got me. Sure, thanks
Yep.
for fact
And that's
checking me.
okay.
Because yes, but the last few games, our third down conversion percentage has not been great, and so that I think is where my mind was going. But for the Bills, that's where they failed. They had a 36% conversion rate on third downs and a 66% conversion rate on fourth downs, and they went for a lot of them. So I think they shot themselves in the foot there. I think, honestly, they should have run more.
Do you guys like the whole fourth down thing? Think about it. 10 years ago, going forward on fourth down was very conservative. It was 4th and 1 or 2.
And it was
If
rare.
if it was within your 40
Right
yard
outside of
line
field
in
goal
the fourth,
range.
yeah, I mean it was very
Yeah.
very rare. And now it's, the Commanders I think they went for it on every fourth down earlier today, if not pretty
I think
much.
that's dumb. But
But they were
I like-
successful at it though.
I like people going for fourth, midfield, 4th and short. I like that. I think when you get to the point, like who was it? Was it Nick Sirianni for the Eagles that went for like every 2-point conversion in one game? And it's just like, what are you doing? Like this.
It's weird.
But I mean,
Yeah.
they had 30 successful fourth down conversions this season. That's more than, or that's almost 2 per game. Fourth down conversions. That's
Okay, so
ridiculous,
you
and
felt
that's
like-
just converted.
You felt like the Commanders went for it more, like almost every fourth down. They went for it 6 times, and the Bills went for it 7.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
That's
I mean,
how often the Bills went for it.
God, that was a fun game to watch, man.
It was. Oh no! Wait, I take it back. They both went for it 6 times.
Bayman said, "How about Matt Ariza?"
That's what I was like, did he play?
I love you, man, but
He's
I
the
don't.
punter.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
the
I know.
punter.
That's what I'm saying. Did he play?
Yes.
Did we punt? Did we punt?
I feel like he
once?
said that to make
Oh,
us laugh.
We punted twice. Yeah, there was
I feel
only
like-
2 punts from each team.
Yeah.
Brandon-
He killed it. Great job, Matt.
Woo! MVP.
Right?
All right,
Ariza.
all right. We have to. We've ran long. We have to end it out.
Okay. Last comment though
Okay.
is possession time was really really close this time, and lots of times we're losing the possession time battle. This time it was within a minute. The Bills had a minute, but it was with.
I don't really care too much about the time of possession because that all comes down to, I mean, the score has a lot to do with it. You know, like in the Commanders-Eagles game today, the first quarter, it was the Commanders had the ball like 12 and a half minutes, like literally, and
Yep.
the Eagles had it for 2.5 minutes, but the Eagles were winning 14-3. So it's, yeah,
but
they
their
had the
possession
ball.
time was within a minute too
It doesn't
of each other.
at the end of the game, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, I just time of possession really doesn't. It just doesn't seem to, in my opinion, weigh too much on the game. It's more of what happens while they have the ball.
Sure. I mean, it's a factor. It's also factored in with, turnovers. If you have a time of possession race, but you keep turning it over, then you're not going to win. If you have the time of possession, but you only get field goals and not touchdowns, you're not going to win, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's multiple factors that go into it, but time of possession is one of them.
Brandon did say that Matt Ariza got drafted by the Bills, which, though, okay, that does make it an interesting fact, though he still wasn't a factor in the game. Really.
Yeah.
I mean, he
He
punted.
didn't mess it up.
But I mean, that portion of the special teams wasn't a factor on either team, really.
Fair.
Wasn't a big. Oh, he got him inside the 2. Woo!
Woohoo!
All right.
There wasn't a whole lot of punting.
We went with you first last time.
Okay.
Offensive player of the game.
I think I have to go Worthy. I think he really stepped up.
Yeah. I'm gonna force you to do somebody else. I'm gonna say Worthy too, and the everybody in Bills Mafia is like, if you pick up the phone when Brett Veach calls you on draft day,
Do not.
we
answer.
will riot.
You know what? I'm
We
going.
won't shovel snow. We'll bring snow to the stadium.
At this point, I think every team is developing a union together against the Chiefs on do not trade them.
So I'm going to give offensive player of the game to Pat Mahomes because Pat Mahomes had to find that receiver that was available, and even though Worthy wasn't always available and made himself
He
that
hit
way,
8 different
It's-
receivers.
I can't argue with Worthy, man. He was freaking amazing, but Mahomes was freaking amazing.
8 different receivers.
That was-
Now, Josh hit 9 different receivers, but one of them was for 1 reception for 0 yards, so that one doesn't count. So they both hit 8.
It's just, wow. I mean, what a great,
game.
and defensively then.
Defense, you're up first.
You're gonna hate this. We've had this discussion earlier this year. I'm not giving in tonight. I'm saying it was a team defense. Every single piece of that defense had to do what they did
Why
tonight.
am I going to hate this? That's what
I know.
I'm
I
the
know
one
you're
that
gonna
hates
hate
it.
this, but you
Because it's not fair that offense gets stars and defense is like, oh, they're like a collective. No.
well in fantasy it is. So deal with it.
Yeah. And
And
that's
tonight,
silly.
yes. So tonight I say the entire defense as a whole. There was, you're only as strong as your weakest link. And there were no weak links.
Yep. I'm gonna go for defensive player of the game. I'm gonna go with Jamari Connor. Dude, he was everywhere tonight.
I didn't hear his name, though.
He forced a fumble.
He didn't recover it, though.
I'm not going to argue.
I mean, Tranquil forced a fumble, and so did Dana. But Connor plays all over the field, defensive back. Sometimes in a safety area, sometimes in a nickelback area, sometimes on corner, and on outside corner. Like he's just a jack of all trades.
And he's come up with some big plays this season to help this team win.
Yeah,
So
he really has. And so I'm going to give it to Jamari Connor. What about you?
I'm going to go with Nick Bolton because I think the fact that we kept the quarterback run to a very low number and Nick Bolton was the majority of time the spy or had that under wraps. I think that he didn't have those impactful plays because he was always there, and Josh Allen didn't get to take it.
Do you know Nick Bolton has a photographic memory?
I want to change my answer.
Yep, photographic.
I don't want to say the whole defense.
Oh, good. You have a real answer?
I do, yeah. Mike Dana.
Yeah.
Mike Dana really.
I thought about him too.
Really
Good job,
came.
Dana.
Yeah.
He showed up.
I was surprised when you didn't say it. I was trying to let you take him, and then when you didn't take him, I was like, oh, well.
Yeah, well.
He deserves it, man. So I'm changing my answer.
He got his name called. I'd like to look for the guys that people don't see that actually make a big difference in the game. Yeah. And you're not going to see that unless you pull up stats. Like, unless you have something that I don't have. See, I have the thing where I can see all of the different camera feeds, but it's 24 hours after the game. Mm-hmm. So you might just have all the feeds. I don't know if that's a thing for like ESPN and stuff, if they just have access to all of the feeds or something, but you're not going to know unless you dig into the stats. And Connor was all over the field.
Can we do an honorable mention for Kareem Hunt?
Yeah, absolutely. Brandon actually said that in
I mean, we
here.
talked.
He
We
also
definitely
said
talked. We talked enough about him.
But I have one more honorable mention. Can we say broadcaster of the season leading up to the Super Bowl? Mr. Tony Romo. Can we give this man a hand?
I don't
Can
know
we
why
get Troy
Chiefs
Aikman
fans hate him.
fired? Can we get
Romo's
Troy
great.
Aikman just gone? And it's not
I
even
feel
about
like
the hating on the
contrast.
Chiefs. I don't care about that. It's,
dude, Troy
it's his
Aikman
delivery.
sucks.
I'm talking about in games that he's not even talking about the Chiefs.
Yeah.
He's just so blah. And fine, he was a great football player. I'm not taking away anything from his career, even though he wasn't a great quarterback. He had one of the best running backs of all time. That doesn't matter. But as a broadcaster, he absolutely blows, and Tony Romo is one of the best.
He was disgraceful
of all time.
week.
No, last week it was awful.
With his blatant calling on the refs is like, dude, shut up. You are a moron. I mean, he literally is.
I don't know if I'll say that.
Pay
He's
me
just
what you pay him, and I will give you a better show.
I don't think he's a moron. He's just
not a
really
moron.
bad at conveying his points, and like I see his points sometimes, but he's just
It's not my cup of tea.
Yeah, he's the boring rich guy that everybody has to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's gonna do it for this week's show, guys. Don't forget to follow us everywhere. You can find all of our links at buckandbob.com. That's BUKNBOB.com. You can find, help us out, help out the show. Leave us reviews on iTunes. Leave us reviews on Spotify. Leave us stars. Comment, like, subscribe. Hit that bell on YouTube. Share this on your Facebook feed.
Tell your
Share
parents.
it on
Parents
X.
love me.
Yeah, just get the word out about us. Talk about us at the water cooler. Help us grow. We're trying to grow.
The water
We wanna-
cooler?
That was a thing at one time. People our age would get that reference.
Okay.
She doesn't. You really don't get that? Weird. Okay. Somebody
she
leave in
thinks
the
funny
comments
for
to
you know.
help us out to explain to Mel what the water cooler is.
I know what the water cooler is. It's not.
It's a dated reference.
Yes.
Okay, well, the coffee machine, the donut area,
Maybe I
wherever
don't know what the water cooler is.
it's
Okay,
wherever
right.
people at
Everybody
work
hangs out and
comes together and has
during
a little
break time,
chit chat,
and they-
smoke
yeah,
break.
Yeah, smoke break.
The
yeah.
break room.
Yeah, break room. Yeah.
Oh.
That's
Okay.
what the water cooler. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
used to be a big-
educating our youngins over here, guys.
Sorry.
All right, and Buck, where can we find you?
As always, you can find us on Facebook together, but you can find me on Twitter. It's at @Buck_tastic. That's BUK_TASTIK.
Mel.
You can find me here after the games.
And you can find me on X at Blaze.